You ever have one of those stories that sound like something out of a bad TV drama, but it actually happened to you? Yeah, that's mine. Every time I tell it, people tilt their heads like I'm pulling their leg. But I swear on my life, everything I'm about to say is true. My ex really did marry my brother. And before you roll your eyes thinking this is one of those bitter, she broke my heart tales, no, this isn't about that. It's about family, loyalty, and what happens when both crack at the same time. Anyway, let me start where it all still made sense. Back then, I was 26, living in Dayton, Ohio, working as an auto mechanic. I'd been at Keller's garage for 4 years. Same fluorescent lights, same coffee that tasted like it was filtered through old socks. My brother, Ryan, was 30, married to his job as an engineer at some fancy firm in Columbus. He'd come down every few weekends. We were close, like really close. He'd been my best man in everything that mattered. My first fight, my first beer, the time I totaled Dad's Chevy and he covered for me. We didn't have much growing up, just a two-bedroom house and parents who thought arguing was a sport. Ryan was the responsible one, the kind that got straight A's and never came home smelling like gasoline. I was the figured-out kid. Still, he never made me feel small. He'd always say, "You're the kind of guy people trust, Sam. That's better than being perfect." Yeah, funny, right? Anyway, life was steady. I had my beat-up Ford, a small apartment, and on Fridays, I'd grab a beer with the guys from the shop. Simple stuff. Then came Emma. I met her at a diner off Route 4. I was eating pancakes at 2 in the afternoon because my boss had chewed me out that morning, and I figured syrup could fix anything. She was behind the counter, tying her hair up, smirking like she knew something the rest of us didn't. When she poured me coffee, I said, "You trying to drown me, or is this how you flirt?" She laughed. That kind of laugh that hits the brakes in your brain. We started talking, and before I knew it, my pancakes were cold, and she'd written her number on a napkin that smelled like cinnamon. First date was bowling. I pretended to be terrible so she'd feel good. She still beat me by 40 points. By the third date, I knew I wanted to keep her around. She was funny, sharp, didn't take my crap. She'd tease me for being a small-town guy with a big heart, and I'd roll my eyes, pretending not to love it. Ryan met her 2 months later when he came down for Mom's birthday. We were at the family house, barbecue smoking, kids screaming somewhere in the yard. I remember walking Emma through the crowd, proud like I just won something. "This is Emma," I said. "The one I told you about." Ryan wiped his hands on a towel and grinned. "So this is the girl, making my little brother all responsible and whatnot." She smiled, reached out her hand. "You must be the famous big brother. Sam talks about you all the time." "Hopefully only the good parts," he joked. That's when I noticed it, the look. Just a flicker, like they recognized something in each other. I brushed it off. Ryan had that charm that made everyone feel seen. For the rest of the night, they talked more than I did. Movies, books, hiking spots in Colorado, stuff I didn't even know she liked. I remember teasing her after. Didn't know I was dating a book club member. She laughed. "Didn't know your brother's actually funny." "Don't encourage him," I said, but it came out lighter than I meant. At first, it was nothing. Ryan would call and sometimes ask, "How's Emma doing?" I figured he was just being polite. Then one evening, he texted her directly, something about a movie recommendation. She showed me, said, "Your brother's got good taste." No alarms yet. Why would there be? But then it became a pattern. They'd chat about random things. Her work at the diner, his projects, life stuff. She'd mention it casually like, "Ryan sent me this article," or "Ryan said I should try that new Italian place." I'd laugh it off, though something started gnawing at me. Like a small rattle in an engine, you can ignore it for a while, but you know it's there. One weekend, we all went hiking together, me, Emma, and Ryan. He'd driven down in his shiny black Jeep, the kind that screamed promotion. Halfway up the trail, they were walking ahead of me, laughing about some show. I remember staring at their backs, thinking they looked good together, and then immediately hating myself for thinking it. That night, I brought it up. "Hey," I said as we sat on my couch, the TV flickering blue across her face. "You and Ryan seem pretty chummy these days." She frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing bad. Just you talk to him more than me sometimes." She sighed. "Sam, he's easy to talk to. Relax." You're reading into things. Maybe I was. Maybe I wasn't. I'll let it slide. The next few months were weird. Not bad. Just off. Emma got quieter, more distant. She'd say she was tired, that work was crazy. I tried to plan something nice, dinner, a movie night, but she'd flake half the time. Then one night, she came over after work, sat down, and said it like she was reading from a script. Sam, I think we should take a break. My stomach dropped. A break from what? From us. I don't feel the same. You don't feel the same, I repeated. Since when? She looked away. It's been building. Building what? A wall? A tunnel? Help me out here. She sighed again, and I could see the guilt all over her face. That's when I knew there was more. Is there someone else? I asked. Her silence answered. I leaned back, staring at the ceiling. You gotta be kidding me. She said, quietly, it's Ryan. It felt like someone hit pause on the world. Everything froze. The hum of the fridge, the ticking clock gone. I just stared at her. Ryan, my brother? She nodded. I didn't plan it. We didn't. It just happened. I laughed. Couldn't help it. One of those hollow laughs that sound more like coughing. You didn't plan it? Oh, well, that's comforting. So what? You tripped and fell in love with him. She started crying. I'm sorry, Sam Kropka. Don't, I said, standing up. Don't apologize. You made your choice. I walked out. Didn't slam the door. Didn't scream. I just left. Next day, Ryan called. I didn't answer. He texted. We need to talk. Yeah, no kidding. It took him 3 days to show up at my place. I opened the door, didn't say a word. He looked like hell. Unshaven, dark circles. Sam, I didn't mean for this to happen. That line's getting real popular this week, I said. He took a breath. I fought it, man. I really did. But I love her. Love her, I repeated. You barely knew her 6 months ago. It's not about time, he said quietly. It's about connection. Connection, I said, nodding. Yeah, that's what they call betrayal these days. He winced. I get that you're angry. Angry? Nah. Angry's when a guy cuts you off in traffic. This is something else. He just stood there, waiting for me to explode. I didn't. I just said, get out. Sam. Out. He hesitated, then left. That was the last time I saw him for almost 2 years. When Mom found out, she called me, tried to smooth things over. Honey, sometimes life is complicated. Complicated? He's my brother, Mom. She was my girlfriend. I know, but love doesn't always happen the way we want. I hung up before I said something I'd regret. Dad didn't call at all. When I finally spoke to him, months later, he said, Ryan's happy, Sam. Maybe it's time you let it go. Let it go. Like it was a scratched-up record I could just stop playing. A few months later, I got an invite in the mail. Cream envelope. Fancy print. Ryan and Emma. Wedding celebration. I stared at it for a full minute, then tossed it in the trash. Apparently, the rest of the family went. Mom even posted pictures on Facebook. Everyone's smiling, champagne in hand. I deleted my account that night. So yeah, I left. Packed what fit in the truck, drove west till the road signs started changing color. Ended up in Kansas City, where no one knew my last name or my story. New job at a repair shop, smaller than the old one, but honest work. New apartment. New start. For a while, I didn't talk much to anyone. I wake up, fix cars, go home, heat up something frozen, repeat. It was peaceful in a numb kind of way. Then one afternoon, a woman came into the shop with a busted alternator. Blonde, messy bun, paint stains on her jeans. Said her name was Claire. She was starting her own art studio downtown. While I checked under the hood, she sat on the curb, sketching. You always this quiet? She asked. Only when I'm trying to concentrate, I said. Then you must be concentrating your whole life. I smirked. Maybe. She smiled. You should try talking sometimes. People might like you. We went for coffee a few days later. Then dinner. Then a drive to the lake. I didn't tell her about the whole ex-marrying my brother thing for months. Didn't seem relevant. I wanted to be someone else for a while. But eventually it came up. We were sitting on our balcony, cheap wine between us, city lights blinking in the distance. She asked, why did you move here, really? I hesitated, then said it. My ex married my brother. She blinked. Wow, that's something. Yeah, family gatherings got complicated. She laughed, not the pity kind, just genuine amusement. Well, At least your life's not boring. That was the first time I laughed about it. A year later, we got married. Small ceremony, no fancy invites. Just a backyard, some fairy lights, and about 10 friends. No family. I didn't even tell Ryan. He found out anyway, probably through Mom. She sent a message on Facebook, said Ryan was happy for me. I didn't reply. Because here's the thing, I wasn't angry anymore. Not really. Just done. Sometimes, though, when I'm driving home late, I think about how it all played out. How two people I loved somehow ended up together, and how I had to lose both to find peace. Life's funny that way. Not haha funny. More like, you've got to be kidding me funny. One time, about 3 years after I'd left, I ran into Ryan by accident. Kansas City Airport. I was coming back from visiting one of Claire's art exhibits in Denver. He was in line for coffee. I almost pretended not to see him, but he looked up first. Sam. I turned. Ryan. He looked older, softer around the edges. Didn't expect to see you here. Same. We stood there, awkward silence stretching between us. How's life? He asked. Good, I said. Married. He smiled a little. I heard. She seems nice. She is. He nodded. Emma and I moved to Seattle. She's teaching now. Good for her. He shifted his weight. I never wanted to lose you, man. Yeah, well, I said, you can't have everything. He looked like he wanted to say more, but the barista called his name. He picked up his cup, nodded once, and walked away. That was it. No dramática padilli. No hook. Just two brothers who used to share everything, now strangers in an airport. And somehow that was okay. Now, years later, I tell this story not because I'm bitter, but because it's real. Because people always think they'd react differently, that they'd yell, or fight, or forgive. Truth is, you don't know till it's your turn. If there's one thing I learned, it's that life doesn't care about your plans. It'll twist them, tear them, and sometimes hand you something better in the ruins. I've got Claire, a dog named Rusty, a decent job, and quiet mornings that don't feel empty anymore. Sometimes she catches me staring off and asks what I'm thinking. I usually say nothing, but the truth is I'm thinking about how weirdly okay everything turned out. I lost my brother, yeah. Lost a version of my family. But I gained a peace I didn't know I needed. And if I ever see Ryan again, I'll probably shake his hand. Maybe even buy him a coffee. Not because he deserves it, but because I finally stopped carrying that weight. You can spend your whole life replaying the crash, or you can walk away from the wreck and start driving again. I chose the road.